Okay. So good morning, dear Father.
Good morning.
Morning. So I want to know about your mission, uh, this particular mission of Holy Trinity. So can you just give me an introduction about this particular, the mission that you have, your background of your mission?
The order of the Most Holy Trinity was begun in France, Service, France, by a holy man called John de Mata. De Mata is the surname of the man, John is the name. He was a normal student, but when he came to a certain age of his studies, he became one of the prominent professor in the University of Paris. At the time, it was very difficult to get a position there.
Okay.
But always he was witnessing the slaves were brought by the during the crusades, big crusades that happened in the 12th century and everything. And then he got his heart was melted because he saw so many prisoners coming to the harbor. Marseille is a famous harbor in France,
Okay.
and he saw the sufferings of the poor captives. He always wanted to do something. But many times he wanted to leave his profession or leave his studies and go for it. Then he didn't know what area, what profession he should choose. But when after he became the professor of University of Paris, 5 years he was there teaching, and he was doing a lot of charitable work, visiting homes and visiting patients, the hospitals and everything. Being a very kind man, helping all the students to study and get to their positions and everything. And then after 5 years, he thought the best way he could serve the church is by becoming a priest. And then what happened was during this first mass, okay, the Bishop of Paris, Bishop Maurice was present, and one of the ashram, like abbot of the ashram was present. He was offering the first mass, and during the consecration, he saw a heavenly Paris. Jesus appearing with the two slaves. One was a black slave, another was a white slave,
Okay.
and their hands were chained, but the chain was broken.
Okay.
And the vision stayed for about 1 hour. People were wondering what is happening, but at the same time, the bishop and the abbot saw the vision.
Okay.
And so they witnessed to that, and then he didn't know what it meant. And so he went to the forest of Sarpa, it's a big forest, and there he wanted to pray and find out what God wanted him to do in the future. And what happened was, while he was meditating in a forest in the Sarfua, he found some people gathering twigs. And then he asked them where are they, and they got him out, and they were followers of a holy man called Felix of Valua.
Okay.
Okay, he was a very holy man.
Yeah.
He had actually been in the crusades and everything,
Okay.
which opened by Urban 15, the Pope. And so they started praying together. He and the three disciples and John the Mother began praying together and asking God for light and to their minds and everything. And finally they realized that the Guru was asking them to find a congregation or find a society for redeeming the slaves, captives.
Okay.
And so the first title of the Trinitarian prayer, the order of the most holy under the captives. The founder had already from the very childhood, he had a great love for the Trinity. And so the worship of the Trinity became the primary thing from the spiritual side, and redeeming the slaves became the main charism of the order, and then works of mercy. And every house we established from there, we had planned, every house we had planned a special house for the work of mercy, for taking care of the people who have wounded, or people who are nowhere, people who are everything. Even now, every house has got a special place for treatment for doing ministry for those less fortunate of the society. And one of the things was both of them together began writing a kind of rule for the new congregation, and they went to Pope Innocent III for the approval of the order. And on that night, the Pope himself had a vision from God that two people will come, and They are kind of a worthy cause. It is a God's own cause, and they should be given the approval for the order.
Okay.
And so they received the approval for the order, and a lot of people began to look into the time. The slaves were the kind of a main attention for the people, the suffering of the slaves, both from Muslim side and the Christian side. And so, because he found that those who were captivated, especially Christians, they had no way to practice their faith. And so what he did was to redeem a captive and send a Trinitarian father or Trinitarian friar instead of that man. So that his faith is redeemed, and the one who is faith has already imprisoned.
Okay.
And then, or we had to find a big ransom for redeeming the slaves. And then he used to pray to our Blessed Mother, Our Lady of Good Remedy. It's called Our Lady of Good Remedy, our special mother. Then Mother used to bring him enough money for the ransom of the captives. That was given.
Usually the slaves were actually
Pardon me?
this particular Christian slaves now, like
Yeah,
those
Christian
people were held captive
Yeah,
by the people of France,
by
like
the people, no, by Muslims,
Muslims. Okay, okay,
Muslims,
okay.
by the Islam.
Oh.
So those were the prominent, prominent people in the Crusades, Muslims and the. So Muslims used to take captives of
Okay.
Christians.
Instead of that, they
Christians
gave
used to take them
missionaries as
Muslims,
captives.
and so he worked for both the sects.
Okay.
And then
And is this the vision of Mother Mary there? That also held as an apparition for them. Like,
yeah, so whenever he prayed, Mary would appear and give the money just enough for the redemption of slaves.
Oh, okay.
And they had to pay this money to the Sultan of Morocco and everything, and then they had to redeem it. So they redeemed about the first day itself around 3,000 slaves.
Okay.
And then the order, the members took up the fight, and the famous father Cervantes, Don
Cervantes.
Quixote.
Yeah, yeah. I know.
He was also released by us.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
there are about 150 saints in our order.
Okay.
So today, actually, I brought this order to India,
Okay.
and now we have got 5 houses. We have got one in fact 6 houses. We are now one in Thrissur and Bangalore and Kasaragod, and now in Trivandrum, and then now Assam.
Okay. 5 major.
5 major places.
Okay, that we had. Okay, so
This is we have a third order. That means wherever Trinitarians are there we group a group of laity, ordinary people, and we have a group that they help them in all our activities. Okay, sometimes they go for fundraising, and also they come for helping the Manipur or Kandaman. They come with us, and so we have got the 3 orders. That is, one is we have fathers, we have sisters, and the third order. We work in unison, work together for the glory of God and everybody. So then we have got schools in Assam and other places. And this is actually our ordination of one of our priests. And we have counseling. Okay, we counsel people, alcoholics and drug addicts, and and we work in parishes wherever is necessary. This is a foreign countries we are working there.
so what inspired you to become to join this particular?
Inspired me or inspired the founder?
You to
Inspire me.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I had been to another congregation, and I had to leave because of my ailment, some sickness. I had got 8 years. I was being treated,
Okay.
and then I had a friend in Rome who said, Matthew, try Trinitarian, they will take even with the sickness and everything in America. So I wrote to them one letter only. I wrote. They did like, come home. This is your house. So I went there. They treated me, and then became the catalyst for bringing this order to India.
Okay, that's how it is. So, what is considered to be the mission field and work of this particular
Mission field is mainly wherever this captivity is there, we have to go and redeem people. Wherever people are suffering, like a tsunami, or Christians are being burned in Kandamal, or like in Manipur. We were there. We went there, helped the people, counsel the people. Built homes for all the three places. We built homes for the homeless and distributed so many fishing nets and fishing boats and everything for people. So we go and help them in wherever the situations are worse. So wherever there is calamity, we go. Wherever Christians are persecuted, we go. Wherever there is a redemption, we have to redeem somebody. We have to go.
When it started in India? When it started in India?
When it started in 1984.
1984. So it's been many years, like 25 or something like. Now it's been how many years?
Now it is actually officially we started on May 1st, 1986.
Okay.
So this might be around 46 years.
46 years. So do you own any other kind of institutions or education, hospitals?
We have got everything. See, ignorance is a slavery.
Yeah.
And so we have to redeem them from ignorance, and that's why you got Assam. They poor people cannot afford to go to school. They provide them for transportation, bring them to school, put them in a hostel, and then we educate them. And then in prisons we work. There are so many people who are innocently for petty cases and everything. They have to pay some huge sum of money, and they have to be imprisoned, and their family is suffering. So we go and redeem them by paying a ransom.
So redemption is the goal.
Give the money and save them from the.
So redemption is the goal.
Helping. So wherever there is misery, where there is calamity, where there is danger of faith, we work in. Now in Fisher Reserve, I work in a home where old age home, where people above 60 are people who have nobody to take care, people who are in abandon, we take them and help them to die in a peaceful death.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.